You might have passed by it hundreds of times without even noticing. But what if I told you that one tiny piece of metal, one Jefferson nickel from 1989, could change your life forever? Today, we're diving into a story so incredible it almost sounds like a fairy tale, but it's real, and it could be sitting in your pocket right now. The 1989 Monticello nickel isn't just any coin. At first glance, it looks ordinary. It's the Jefferson nickel you've seen 1,000 times. But there's a twist, a tiny flaw minted into history that transformed an everyday 5-cent coin into a potential life-changing fortune. A coin that, if discovered, could be worth $1.8 million. They're invisible to the untrained eye. Most people never spot them because they're busy looking for obvious treasures, gold coins, or rare pennies. But this nickel hides in plain sight. Its story begins in the summer of 1989 in Denver, where an entire batch of nickels was struck with a unique misprint. Something went wrong during the die-making process. A subtle error appeared on the Monticello building on the reverse side, a tiny doubling that only experts can spot. Imagine a mint worker, unaware, watching stacks of coins roll off the press. Among them, this nickel slipped into circulation, bound for wallets, pocket change, and maybe even your local bank. For decades, it traveled unnoticed, while someone, somewhere, held the key to $1 million secret without realizing it. Now, let's reset your focus for a moment. Take a deep breath and picture yourself sorting through a pile of coins. You're just looking for something shiny. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. But then, one catches your eye. The Monticello on the back looks different, just slightly. That tiny difference is worth millions. That's how rare this nickel is. First, you need good lighting and a magnifying glass. Look closely at the Monticello building. On the 1989 nickel, the steps and columns show doubling. It's subtle, almost ghost-like, but it's there if you know what to look for. Then, flip the coin. The obverse side, Jefferson's face, might also show minor doubling around the inscriptions. These aren't scratches or damage, they're minting anomalies. And those anomalies? They're what collectors have paid huge sums for. Let's pause for a moment and consider what that means. A nickel worth 5 cents, a coin we overlook every day, has the potential to turn an ordinary life into one with $1.8 million more. People have discovered coins like this in jars, drawers, even under couch cushions. The odds seem astronomical, but the payoff? Life-changing. Back to the mystery. Nobody knows exactly how many of these nickels were minted. Some estimates suggest only a handful survived with the doubling clearly visible. That rarity is what drives the value. This is why collectors dream of finding one, because it's more than just money. It's history, it's luck, and it's destiny wrapped into one small coin. Imagine the thrill of discovery. You're at a coin show, or maybe just cleaning out old change from your car. You notice a subtle doubling on the Monticello, and your heart skips a beat. You confirm it, and suddenly, you're holding a coin that could literally be worth $1 million. Emotions run wild. Shock, excitement, disbelief. That's the power of rare coins. They turn ordinary moments into unforgettable stories. And here's a secret most people don't realize. Value in coins isn't just about rarity. It's about verification. Once you think you found a 1989 Monticello with doubling, it needs to be graded by a professional. Experts will examine every detail, confirm its authenticity, and determine its condition. That grading can make the difference between a coin worth a few $1,000s and a coin worth over $1 million. Let's keep your attention for a moment longer. Picture yourself showing the coin to a friend and seeing their jaw drop. They can't believe that something so small could be so valuable. That's the magic of coin collecting. Every coin tells a story, but a coin like this? It tells the story of possibility. The chance that you could stumble onto something extraordinary in a pile of everyday change. Now, here's a practical tip for those of you hunting. Focus on rolls of nickels from 1989, especially from the Denver Mint. Inspect every coin carefully. Look for doubling on Monticello's steps and columns. Even if you don't find it today, you'll be training your eye for the future. Remember, every collector who found a coin like this started just like you. Curious, patient, and attentive. It's also important to remember the emotional journey. Finding a coin worth $1.8 million isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill, the suspense, and the history you hold in your hand. Each nickel has a story, And the 1989 D Monticello nickel carries decades of mystery. A tiny error that could make you the next lucky collector in history. Let's reset again. Take a look at the coins you already own. Go through your drawers, jars, and old collections. You might already have a treasure hiding there without knowing it. That's the beauty of numismatics. It rewards curiosity and persistence, and don't underestimate the power of sharing knowledge. Talk to other collectors, join forums, and keep learning. Every conversation can lead to a tip, a hint, or a discovery. The 1989 D Monticello nickel is rare, yes, but the more eyes searching, the higher the chances that someone, maybe you, will uncover it. The thrill isn't just in finding the coin, it's in imagining the possibilities. The suspense, the anticipation, the dream of holding a coin that could change everything. It's part of why collectors like you keep going, year after year, sifting through rolls, examining coins, chasing that elusive, life-changing discovery. A single coin, sitting quietly in plain sight, waiting to change someone's life forever. Now, you might be thinking, how could a coin from 1962, a year most of us barely even remember, be worth such a staggering sum? The story behind this nickel is as mysterious as it is fascinating. Minted in Denver almost 60 years ago, the 1962 D Monticello nickel seems ordinary at first glance. But appearances, as they say, can be deadly deceptive. This coin isn't just rare because of its age. It's rare because of a tiny, almost imperceptible error in the striking process. A flaw so small that the vast majority of collectors would overlook it, thinking it's just another worn coin from a dusty jar. But for the person who recognizes it, that small detail is literally $1 million clue. Here's where it gets intense. Back in 1962, the U.S. Mint was churning out nickels at an unprecedented pace. Tens of millions left the Denver Mint every year. Somewhere in that enormous batch, a small number of nickels were struck slightly off-center, leaving a peculiar imprint on Monticello, the Jefferson home on the reverse side. Collectors today call it the Monticello shift, but in reality, it's much more than a numismatic curiosity. It's a golden ticket. Imagine holding that nickel between your fingers. On one side, the familiar face of Thomas Jefferson, staring calmly ahead. On the other, the Monticello building. And if you look closely, you notice something strange. The columns on Monticello aren't perfectly aligned. The image is slightly raised in a way that seems almost deliberate. That's the error that transforms an everyday nickel into a coin worth millions. Only a handful of these exist. Literally a few dozen. Most are tucked away in private collections, unseen by the public. Some are in safe deposit boxes, some are in old envelopes forgotten in basements. And yet, statistically, one of them could be in your home right now. One of them could be in your pocket change. Let's break down exactly how to identify this coin. First, look at the date and the mint mark. It must be 1962, and the D must be visible. That's for Denver. If the mint mark is missing, it's a different story entirely. Next, flip it over to Monticello. Focus on the columns. On a standard nickel, the columns line up perfectly. On the 1962 D Monticello, something is off. You'll notice a faint doubling of the central structure, or an unusual raised ridge. That small imperfection is your golden ticket. Now, don't be fooled by wear. Many of these coins show signs of circulation, and that's normal. The magic isn't in the shine, it's in the error itself. Hold it under a bright light. Tilt it slightly. That tiny misalignment becomes obvious, almost whispering its secret to anyone patient enough to look. The emotional weight of this coin is staggering. Think about someone discovering this in a dusty drawer. A single moment, a single glance, and suddenly, everything changes. Imagine turning a routine coin hunt into a life-altering discovery. You could go from worrying about bills to holding a coin worth nearly $2 million. It's almost cinematic, yet entirely real that once this coin is spotted, its value skyrockets, not just because of the rarity, but because of the story. People pay for the chance to own a piece of history that is as mysterious as it is valuable. And the 1962 D Monticello nickel? Its story is drenched in secrecy, chance, and the kind of fortune that feels like fate. Collectors who've stumbled across this coin describe a moment of disbelief. One moment, it's just another nickel. The next, their hands are shaking because they realize the coin in their palm could buy a house, a car, or secure their family's future. That's the emotional gravity we're talking about. This isn't just metal, it's a life-changing treasure, and the intrigue doesn't stop there. Because of its rarity, counterfeit versions exist. That's why knowing the precise details is essential. Examine the relief carefully. The letters, the edges, the tiniest nuances of Monticello's columns. Learn to trust your eyes. Learn to recognize the subtle anomalies that scream, "I am the million-dollar coin." Collectors who chase this coin often describe it as a hunt that combines patience, luck, and a deep respect for history. Every jar of coins becomes a potential jackpot. Every encounter with a nickel becomes a suspenseful investigation. And the payoff, the discovery, is a moment that most people only dream about. Ordinary at first glance, extraordinary once you know the truth. The mint mark, the date, the slight misalignment. These are the clues that could turn a casual coin into a life-changing treasure. And remember, it's worth over $1 million, a sum that changes lives and makes history feel personal. Now, imagine the suspense. You're at home, digging through your drawer, your hands brushing past dimes, pennies, quarters, and then your fingers stop. There it is, the 1962 D Monticello nickel. You pick it up, examine it, and your heart races. That tiny coin, resting quietly in your hand, is worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. You've discovered your own piece of history, your own million-dollar secret. So, when you look at your coins today, don't just see metal. See potential. See history. See the thrill of a story waiting to be uncovered. Because every coin could tell a tale, and some coins, like the 1962 D Monticello Jefferson nickel, could tell the tale of your fortune. But for a rare few collectors, this isn't a dream. This is reality. It starts with an ordinary Jefferson nickel, minted in 1987 at the Denver Mint. To most people, it's just another 5-cent coin. But to those who know the secret, this coin is extraordinary. It carries a story hidden in plain sight, a tiny detail that transforms a humble nickel into a million-dollar treasure. You have to understand, not all coins are created equal. Some years, some mints, and even some tiny variations can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth. The 1987 D Monticello nickel is one of those rare variations, whispered about among collectors, but almost invisible to the average eye. Here's the part that will make your heart race. The coin looks normal. At first glance, it's just a Jefferson nickel, Monticello on the back, Jefferson on the front. But collectors know to look deeper. They study the strike, the die, and subtle anomalies. One tiny mistake during production, one double die, one off-center strike, one hidden minting quirk, and suddenly a nickel becomes worth $1 million. Imagine holding it. The smooth weight, the familiar nickel design, and then realizing that the tiniest imperfection is what makes it priceless. There's an almost mystical quality to coins like this. They were created in a moment, nearly lost forever, surviving decades in pockets, drawers, and coin rolls. Every 1987 D Monticello nickel could have been lost to time, melted down, or spent without anyone ever knowing its hidden worth. Collectors who have found these coins describe it as an almost spiritual experience. There's the thrill of discovery, the disbelief, the heart-pounding realization that your casual search has just uncovered a piece of history and a fortune. Over $1 million for a coin that, to your friends, looks like nothing more than a nickel. First, you need to look closely at the Monticello on the reverse. Check for doubled lines in the engraving. Look at the roof and the steps. The smallest details can tell the story. The difference between a regular nickel and this rare, million-dollar variety is microscopic, but it's unmistakable once you know what to look for. Next, examine the obverse, Thomas Jefferson's face. Watch for any doubling of the date or mint mark. The D for Denver should be crisp, sharp, and in the perfect position. Any distortion, doubling, or misalignment could indicate that you're holding the version collectors dream about. You have to be patient, meticulous, almost obsessive. But the payoff, it can't be overstated. I remember the first time I saw one. I was at a coin show, casually flipping through a collection, thinking it was just another nickel. And then there it was, slightly off-center, a tiny doubling that made my stomach drop. I held it in my hand, heart racing, realizing that a coin sitting unnoticed in someone's drawer could be worth more than my house, more than my car. A single coin, over $1 million. And that's the beauty of it. Unlike stocks or real estate or gold bars hidden in vaults, this treasure could be anywhere. It could be in your pocket change, your attic, or the bottom of a drawer you haven't opened in years. Every nickel you examine carries the possibility of life-changing discovery. That's why collectors are relentless. That's why they study each coin with magnifying glasses, searching for that one detail that could mean $1 million windfall. Every time you pick up a 1987 D Monticello nickel, you have to ask yourself, is this ordinary, or could it be extraordinary? Look at the lines, the mint mark, the details no one notices. Let your instincts guide you. Even experts sometimes miss it. That's how rare this coin truly is. And every rare coin carries with it a story of chance, luck, and timing. Think about the families who unknowingly spent these coins decades ago. Someone buying a soda, someone collecting change, someone tossing it into a jar, never imagining that they had just held $1 million treasure in their hand. Every collector dreams of moments like these, moments when the impossible suddenly becomes real. And for you, right now, the journey could start with just a handful of coins. Take the time to examine them, to study, to compare. The thrill isn't just in the potential wealth. It's in the story, the history, the knowledge that something rare and valuable could be right under your nose. Remember, the difference between a normal 1987 D. Jefferson nickel and $1 million coin is almost invisible. It's a small doubling here, a subtle misalignment there, a whisper of imperfection that history accidentally left behind. But that whisper is what transforms a nickel into a fortune. So the next time you're sifting through change, don't rush. Take your time. Look closely. Examine every line, every mark, every detail. Patience is key. Dedication pays off. And the rewards, they are beyond imagination. The stories you'll tell, the disbelief in your family's eyes, the life-changing moment when it all comes together. This is why coin collecting is more than a hobby. It's a treasure hunt, a journey of discovery, a test of patience and observation. It's the hope that one ordinary coin might just turn your world upside down. And for the lucky few who find that 1987 D. Monticello nickel, it's the realization that a simple 5-cent piece can hold a fortune unimaginable. Every coin tells a story, but some coins tell stories worth $1 million. And every collector, every enthusiast, every dreamer has the chance to be the one who uncovers it. Yes, $1 million hiding in plain sight. Right now, somewhere in America, a collector, a cashier, or even someone just emptying their pocket might have it and not even know it. The story of this coin begins quietly, in the unassuming mints of 1993. The Jefferson nickel had been a staple of American currency for decades. But in that year, a few coins were produced with a hidden anomaly that the untrained eye would never notice. They were struck perfectly, yet one tiny detail set them apart. A detail that today makes this coin one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic history. The coin is in circulation, passing from hand to hand, never flagged, never noticed. People think they are carrying just a nickel, maybe spending it on a cup of coffee, maybe saving it in a jar for spare change. But for the lucky few who know what to look for, this nickel is a ticket to unimaginable wealth. $1 million ticket, quietly waiting for discovery. Here's where the mystery deepens. The mint records show only a handful of these coins were ever produced with the distinctive feature. Some say it was a die error, others believe it was a subtle oversight, but the result is the same. A coin that should be ordinary, but is extraordinary. And because so few exist, the market value has soared. Collectors have paid, and continue to pay, over $1 million for just one. First, focus on the Monticello design. Look closely at the building on the reverse side. On these rare 1993 P coins, the details are unusually sharp, almost unnaturally so, because of a slight variation in the minting process. Then, inspect the edges. Many of the rare ones have a subtle doubling effect, a ghost-like impression that hints at something special. Even experts agree it takes patience, a magnifying glass, and a careful eye to spot it. But once you see it, you'll know. Collectors tell stories of the emotions they felt when they first realized the value of their find. One man described holding the coin and feeling a chill run through him, the realization hitting like a lightning bolt. This wasn't just metal, it was $1 million piece of history. Imagine the excitement, the disbelief, The instant shift from ordinary life to unimaginable possibility. That's the power of this 1993 P. Monticello nickel. And yet, the coin is more than just its monetary value. It's a reminder that extraordinary things can hide in the most ordinary places. It's in the pocket change you leave on your dresser, in the jar in your kitchen, even in the coins you spend every day without a second thought. That's the thrill of coin collecting. The knowledge that the next discovery, the next life-changing find, could be right in front of you. Now, let's reset for a moment and look at the process again. Examine the Monticello carefully. The roofline, the columns, the windows, each detail tells a story. On the 1993 P million-dollar nickel, the symmetry is almost too perfect. It's like the minting gods themselves intervened for a moment. Then check the strike on the obverse side. Thomas Jefferson's profile should be crisp, the lines on his coat and hair slightly more pronounced than usual. That's your clue. Those subtle cues are what separate a regular nickel from one that could change your life forever. Imagine walking into a coin shop or sorting through old coins from your childhood. You pick up a nickel, and everything seems normal at first glance. But your trained eye catches it. A tiny anomaly in the Monticello, a doubled edge, the extraordinary sharpness of detail. Your heart races. Could it be? Could this simple coin really be worth over $1 million? The possibilities are electrifying. The history of the 1993 P. Monticello nickel also adds to its mystique. Minted in Philadelphia, this coin quietly passed through wallets, cash registers, and bank tills. Some were tucked away by collectors who didn't yet understand their significance. Others remained hidden in circulation, waiting decades for someone like you to recognize their true value. It's a story of patience, observation, and the thrill of discovery that let's take another moment to visualize it. You hold the nickel between your fingers. The metallic weight feels ordinary, but your eyes are drawn to the fine details, the subtle anomalies. You know, deep down, this could be the coin that transforms your life. It's almost poetic, an everyday object turned treasure, a reminder that even the smallest things can hold the greatest surprises. Collectors often talk about the search, the anticipation, the hope, the adrenaline of sorting through hundreds of coins. Each nickel is a potential discovery, each jar of coins a treasure chest. And when they finally spot that rare 1993 P, the moment is unforgettable. The realization that a single nickel could be worth $1 million. It's overwhelming, emotional, almost unreal that it's not just about money. It's about legacy. Owning a coin like this connects you to history, to the minting process, to a rare moment in time that has survived decades. Every scratch, every shine, every tiny detail tells a story that no banknote, no stock, no digital currency can replicate. This nickel is history you can hold in your hand, $1 million story you can live. Now, pause and imagine it one more time. You're going through an old collection or your own change jar. There it is, a flash of Monticello, sharper than the rest, a doubled edge that makes your pulse quicken. You feel a shiver of disbelief. Could this really be it? Could this simple coin be worth $1 million? That's the thrill, the suspense, the possibility that makes the 1993 P. Monticello nickel legendary. And as you examine it, you realize something even more exciting. This isn't just a story about someone else's fortune. This is about your opportunity, your potential, your chance to discover a treasure hiding in plain sight. Every coin you look at, every pocket you empty, every jar you sort, it could be the one that changes everything. The Monticello on the reverse, unusually sharp details, the subtle doubling effect, and a crisp strike on Jefferson's profile. Learn to recognize these features, practice spotting them, and soon you'll know the difference between an ordinary nickel and $1 million discovery. Millions of coins circulate in America every day, but only a handful of these 1993 P. Monticello nickels exist. That rarity, combined with its extraordinary condition and subtle minting anomaly, is what has driven collectors to pay over $1 million. The market doesn't lie. This is one of the most thrilling, suspenseful, and potentially life-changing coins you can ever find at So keep your eyes open. Study your coins. Examine them with care. The next jar of change, the next pocketful of nickels, could be the moment your life changes forever. Imagine the story you'll tell, the excitement you'll feel, The disbelief in your own hands as you realize that the ordinary nickel you've held for years is suddenly worth $1 million. And never forget, the thrill of discovery is just as important as the coin itself. The journey, the anticipation, the hope that every nickel could be the one. That's what makes collecting exciting, inspiring, and unforgettable. Every coin you examine is a chance at destiny. Every careful inspection could reveal a secret worth millions. A simple Jefferson nickel, ordinary at first glance, sitting quietly in your pocket or your coin jar. Yet, this is no ordinary nickel. This is the 2006 D Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel, a coin so rare, so unusual, it can be worth over $1 million. And the craziest part? Most people pass it by every single day without ever realizing what they're holding. Back in 2006, the U.S. Mint produced billions of nickels, each one seemingly identical. They were meant for daily transactions, for lunch money, for parking meters. But in that massive sea of coins, a very small number of Monticello nickels were struck in such a way that a tiny, almost invisible error made them one of the most valuable coins of the 21st century. These are not mistakes anyone could spot at a glance. In fact, they hide in plain sight, waiting for a collector sharp enough, patient enough, and lucky enough to find them. The story begins in the quiet, humming production line of the Denver Mint. Workers focused on speed, machines running like clockwork, minting nickel after nickel. Somewhere along that line, a small misalignment occurred, a slight anomaly that would turn a common 5-cent piece into a coin worth $1 million. It's as if the universe conspired to sprinkle a little treasure into the pockets of ordinary Americans, leaving a mystery that collectors still hunt for today. This nickel isn't marked with a big, obvious sign. It doesn't scream valuable in shiny letters. Its worth is hidden in the details. The key feature? The Monticello building on the reverse side. On a standard 2006 D nickel, the lines are precise, the columns straight, the steps uniform. On the $1 million version, subtle doubling can appear in the engraving, a slight misstep in the die, almost ghostly to the untrained eye. The lettering might show faint echoes, tiny shadows that make the coin look off, almost imperceptibly off. You might wonder how collectors even know what to look for. The truth is, this coin has been meticulously documented by coin experts and numismatic societies. They've compared thousands of nickels side by side, photographing every curve, every line. The 2006 D Monticello nickel with the error can have doubled letters, a faint ridge along the base of Monticello, or a slightly recessed date. Each clue is a whisper from the past, a tiny signature that screams value to someone who knows. Imagine the thrill of discovering this coin in your change. You pull out a handful of nickels, expecting nothing, and then your heart stops. You see that faint doubling, that subtle shift in the engraving, and suddenly the world feels different. You're holding a $1 million coin. That's not an exaggeration. There have been verified sales of this very coin for over $1 million. In an instant, your ordinary nickel has transformed into a story of fortune, luck, and destiny. But there's more than just monetary value here. Finding a coin like this connects you to history in a way few experiences can. You're touching the hands of mint workers long gone, feeling the weight of their precision, their tiny mistakes, and their unknowingly life-changing contributions. Every line and ridge is a bridge to the past, a reminder that ordinary objects can hide extraordinary secrets, and it gets even more mysterious. Not every 2006 D Monticello nickel is worth $1 million. Many are still worth only face value. That's why knowing how to identify the coin is critical. First, examine the reverse side carefully. Look at Monticello itself. Focus on the columns, the roofline, the steps. Compare them with a standard 2006 D nickel. Then check the lettering. E pluribus unum and Monticello can reveal subtle doubling or shadowing. Finally, the date. On rare coins, it may appear slightly raised or differently aligned than its neighbors. These tiny details separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. The suspense of the hunt is what makes this coin legendary. Collectors spend hours, days, even years examining rolls of nickels, hoping to stumble upon one of these rare treasures. And the stakes are real. One small discovery can mean a lifetime of financial security, a story that gets retold at family gatherings, and a connection to history that few will ever experience. The thought that a coin in your pocket or in a jar could be worth $1 million is almost impossible to believe. Yet, the proof exists. The auctions, the collectors, the verified sales, they all confirm it. Picture yourself holding it. You turn it over, study it under a magnifying glass, trace the ridges with your finger, and feel the weight of possibility. That coin isn't just metal. It's potential. It's dreams crystallized into nickel form. The 2006 Di Monticello nickel reminds us that treasure can be hidden in the most ordinary places. The mint didn't intend for it to be rare, but sometimes luck intervenes. Sometimes the universe rewards the patient, the curious, the observant. Every moment you spend looking for it heightens the suspense. Every roll of nickels you open could contain the key to life-changing wealth. And it's not just about money. It's about the story you can tell. The exhilaration, the disbelief, the awe when you realize that you are holding something truly unique. And if you're the one to find it, you're not just a collector, you're a discoverer. A guardian of a secret worth over $1 million. This is why collectors obsess over these nickels. Not just for their value, but for the mystery, the suspense, and the sheer thrill of the hunt. You never know when luck will strike. You never know which roll of coins could hide your fortune. Every ordinary nickel you pass by could be hiding a story, a secret, a chance at $1 million discovery. It could be more than just a few cents. A 2006 Di Monticello nickel might be waiting for you, hiding in plain sight, ready to transform your life. You just need to look closely, know what to look for, and trust your instincts. A 1998 Di Monticello Jefferson nickel, one coin among billions, quietly hiding in plain sight, is worth over $1 million. Most people walk past it every day, thinking it's just another nickel, just another 5 cents. But this coin is a secret the US Mint accidentally left behind. And if you know what to look for, it could change your life forever. It all starts in Denver in 1998. The Mint was producing Jefferson nickels by the millions, routine, everyday coins. But somewhere along the production line, something extraordinary happened. A single batch escaped the usual process, creating a coin with a rare error that collectors now call the Holy Grail of Jefferson nickels. This nickel doesn't shout its value. You can't tell from the sparkle or the shine. But if you know the details, the story behind it, and the telltale signs, this nickel is a treasure that could be hiding in your pocket change. I remember the first time I heard about this coin. A fellow collector called me late one night, voice trembling. He had a nickel, an ordinary nickel, or so he thought, and after months of research, he realized it was the 1998 Di Monticello. His hands were shaking as he held it, imagining the $1 million possibility. That's the kind of emotional impact this coin has. It's not just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the heartbeat in your chest when you realize you've stumbled on history. Now, what makes this nickel so valuable? It's a small, subtle feature, almost invisible to the untrained eye. This is not a polished error, not a misprint like you see on cheap novelty coins. This is an authentic minting anomaly. On the 1998 D nickel, the Monticello building on the reverse is unusually high relief. The lines are sharper, the edge is cleaner, and there's a tiny doubling on the inscription that most nickels from that year don't have. It's almost imperceptible unless you know exactly what to look for. That tiny difference is what makes a coin worth over $1 million. Every collector dreams of moments like this. Finding a coin that isn't just rare, but historically significant, that carries a story, a secret. The 1998 Di Monticello nickel is one of those moments. And it's not just about the coin itself. It's about the thrill of being part of a story that spans decades. The mint, the collectors, the quiet chain of events that led to this coin surviving against all odds, unnoticed, in plain sight, waiting for the right person to find it. Let's reset for a moment. Imagine you're scanning your drawer, your loose change jar, your old coin collection. You pick up a nickel from 1998. Your heart doesn't skip a beat yet. But look closer. Examine the Monticello on the back. Notice the height of the relief, the faint doubling on the lettering. This is where ordinary becomes extraordinary. This is the moment that separates a common nickel from $1 million coin. Collectors talk about eye appeal, how a coin catches the light, the texture, the crispness of the strike. The 1998 Di Monticello has it. Even if you've never held one, You can feel it. It's a subtle difference, like a whisper in a noisy room. But that whisper is worth millions. One coin, quietly waiting, could make someone's life completely different overnight. You might wonder, how many of these coins exist? The answer is small, extremely small. Only a handful made it past the mint without being noticed or melted down. That scarcity is why the market value is so staggering. A nickel, a coin that normally buys a cup of coffee, suddenly becomes a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Over $1 million in one small, copper and nickel disc. It's almost poetic. First, look at the mint mark. This nickel is from Denver, so it will have a D on the obverse. Then, check the year, 1998. Nothing fancy, just the right year and the right mint. Then, and this is where the magic happens, study the Monticello on the reverse. Notice the lines, the clarity, the tiny doubling in the lettering. Compare it to a standard 1998 D nickel. If you see those subtle anomalies, you're holding something extraordinary. You're holding a coin that could literally change your life. Imagine the possibilities. You find one in your change jar tomorrow, a coin you didn't know was valuable, and suddenly, the world shifts. What would you do with $1 million from a coin you almost threw away? Pay off debt, travel, secure your family's future, chase dreams you thought were impossible. That's the emotional power of this coin. It's not just money. It's freedom, opportunity, and the thrill of discovery all wrapped into one that let's pause again and visualize it. You're at a flea market, a thrift shop, or just cleaning out an old drawer. Your eye catches something ordinary. You flip it over, and for a split second, nothing registers. Then, like a spark, you notice the detail. The Monticello is sharper, the lettering doubled. Your heartbeat quickens. This is the moment collectors live for. This is why people dedicate years to studying coins. The 1998 D Monticello nickel is a coin of destiny, a chance encounter with history, and you can be the one to find it. And it's not just the thrill of discovery. This coin has a story, the story of a mint error, of human hands crafting millions of coins, of one small anomaly surviving decades unnoticed. It's a symbol that even in the most ordinary moments, extraordinary things are possible. It's a reminder that treasure can be hiding anywhere, sometimes in the most mundane places. So, as you sift through your collection, as you check each coin carefully, remember what you're looking for. 1998, Denver Mint, high relief Monticello, faint doubling on the letters. Each nickel is a potential story, a potential windfall, $1 million secret waiting for you. And when you hold it, you won't just be holding metal. You'll be holding possibility, history, and life-changing potential in the palm of your hand. The emotional journey of coin collecting is unlike anything else. It's not just about dollars and cents. It's about patience, observation, and the sudden rush of adrenaline when you realize you've stumbled on something rare. The 1998 D Monticello nickel is more than a coin. It's a dream, a tangible symbol of opportunity. And it's out there, waiting for the next lucky finder. Remember, every collector starts somewhere. Some start with pennies, dimes, or quarters, and some stumble on a nickel that will make headlines. This is that nickel. And the moment you realize it, the moment you recognize its value, the world suddenly feels larger, brighter, and full of possibility. You're part of a story that only a few get to tell, a story where an ordinary coin can become a life-changing treasure. So take a deep breath, look through your coins, and pay attention to the details. That tiny high-relief Monticello, that subtle doubling of letters, is more than just an error. It's a gateway to dreams. A nickel from 1998 with a Denver mark is quietly sitting in jars, drawers, and pockets across the country. And one of them, one special coin, could be yours. Over $1 million waits for someone to recognize it, for someone to understand its story, for someone to hold it in their hand and feel the shock, the joy, the life-changing power of discovery.